welcome back to my next playthrough series. This time it is back to Final Girl, and we're going to be playing Maple Lane with Dr. Fright. And I've already set up his ultimate ability here at the top, the end game, and his, I think it's his dark power, yes, here, once we get here on the terror track. We've done this once before. I made a few errors, so we'll try not to make errors this time. We start off at 4 on the little horror track. Of course, we have 6 time, a little timer here. And we will be playing with Sheila, and she has 6 health, which is pretty good. And we need to put 6 tokens or rescue 6 victims to cover up all these, and then flip to her ultimate ability, which she gets 2 time instead of 1 when discarding action cards for time. And for each additional victim saved, she can drop the horror down after she flips to this. So that's Sheila. Will be playing with her. Of course, we're playing against Dr. Fright. He is in the dream world. He's the dream doctor. So what that means is we cannot attack him, and he cannot attack us, the final girl, if we are awake. And how that works is we have an awake deck, and we have the boiler room. And these cards, I'll explain when we get to them. But when we fall asleep, we enter the boiler room. And victims will not follow you during this movement and cannot be saved when you're asleep. And you can see here, you may not attack or be attacked by Dr. Fright. All right, let's take a look at the cards we're going to be purchasing, and we'll tell you a little bit about the setup and some of the search items. All right, so this is a pretty high level because we can't really see all of the cards. We do have 1 extra card with Maple Lane, and that's Convince. And the reason we need this Convince card that comes with the Maple Lane game is we have to convince the residents of a house, once they're in the house, we can enter the house. Otherwise, we can't enter the house. They won't let us in. So that's what the Convince card is. Everything else is pretty much the same. Long rest, critical blow, improvise, distraction, on and so forth. I do not believe any of these other cards. They are all just from the basic game. All right, so there we have it. Those are the cards that we will be purchasing with time. And let's take a look at the 4 items that are in the 4 quadrants of Maple Lane, and then we're just going to get into having a turn or two. Alright, so here we have the 10 terror cards. We're randomly selected, and we'll give these a shuffle. And there are, I forget how many cards, there's a whole lot anyway. So we have an energy drink. Now this is in the northwest, so we have a northwest region. There's 3 houses. We have 3 in the northeast, 3 houses southwest, and 3 houses southeast. Like I said, if there's a victim inside of a house, they won't let you in unless you convince them to let you in. We're starting here. This is the Final Girl miniature. I do have the little miniature pack, and this is, of course, Dr. Fright with his crazy little pitchfork. All right, there you have it. So we have an energy drink in the northwest. In this section, we have a knife. In the southwest, we have a Bible. In the northeast, and we have a crucifix in the southeast. And that's where our stuff is. Alright, well, we start the game. We have 6 basic cards that cost 0 cost cards, and I think we're just going to go ahead and see what we can see. We'll go ahead and we'll take a turn. We'll see how everything works. Oh, and I also forgot to mention the setup cards. I just randomly grabbed one for Maple Lane, and the one we got is A Quiet Place. So that is how the board is set up, with victims and the white numbers here, the final girl in this section, and the killer over there. So that's how we have the board set up. And I should also mention, yes, the very start of the game, we are going to have an event happen. That's the first thing we do. So I'll go ahead, give these a shuffle, and another bit of a shuffle here, and we will have an event. So we're going to see what event we have. These are usually pretty awful. The event is Friendly Neighbors. Roll +1 die when resolving the Convince action card. Oh, that is such a good start for us. Awesome. All right, I'm going to zoom the camera out. We're going to take a look at our cards, and we're going to figure out what we want to do. Well, I thought I would take a look at the little final little track here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 health +1. We get these little +1 tokens. We flip that over. That's your last health. If it's blank, you're dead. If there's more hearts on it, you'll get some bonus life. And the same thing for the killer. He's got 9 health total. Ugh. Yeah, terrible. And there you have it. So we are starting here at 4. That's the setup for Dr. Fright. We have 6 time to spend. And let's now take a look. what we want to do and start using our cards, rolling some dice, and getting moving. Alright, so to start with, we are in the action phase. Play some cards. So we have a short rest. Oh, and I should mention, in this game, you can also fall asleep by performing the short rest. It doesn't matter what you get on here. If you do the short rest, you will fall asleep, end up in the boiler room, which is bad. And there's a long sleep card you can purchase as well, and that will also send you to sleep. So we have a couple of focuses, a couple walks. These are all the basic cards, a short rest and a weak attack. So, I think let's just begin the game with a focus action. We are rolling 2 dice, you can see here, as our horror track is there. We're going to try and reduce the horror some, so that maybe we can be able to roll 3 dice at some point. Would be better for us. So we're going to go ahead and do this. We're going to be rolling 2 dice, and we're looking for as many successes as we can possibly get. So I'm going to get out the dice tray here, and let's get rolling a couple of these dice. I'll explain how this works. Ugh. It works terribly. So what happens here, 1s and 2s are just failures. And this one here means we can spend 2 cards to get 1 success. Otherwise we're going to have no successes here, and we're just going to lose 2 time, and that'd be horrible. This way we can, if we do 1 success, we can reduce the horror by 1, and we will only lose 1 time. So I think we're going to do that. I think we're going to discard weak attack and short rest. And boom! By discarding those cards, we get to have 1 success. We can turn the 4 into a 6th success. So we're going to reduce the horror by 1 down to 3, and that costs us 1 time. Now, these 3 cards, though, are discarded, so I'm just going to leave them face down right here. Alright, what do we have left in our hand? We have a focus, a walk, and a walk. Now, we could walk into this house because there's nobody in this house. We don't need to convince anybody to get in there. So, let's go ahead and try a walk action and hope we get better luck. Come on. Let's get like maybe 1 success. And we get, oh man, we are sucking at the dice rolling. All right, so we get no successes. So we can move a space, take a wound, lose 2 time, or we can just lose 2 time. Or we can discard 2 cards. We can discard our focus and our walk to get 1 success, which is move a space and lose 1 time. But then we lose both of these cards. I think we're just going to suck it up. We're going to move 1 space. We're going to move into here so that we'll get a search card next time. We're going to lose 1 health. Now we can get health back later. And yeah. And we lose 2 times, so we're down to 3. Ooh! Now we can always discard 1 card for 1 time as well, if we want to get time back. And that was our walk action. So we basically walked into this deserted house, and now it is the end. I think we're not going to do any more actions. Now it's the planning phase. Purchase action cards. Reset the timer to 6 and play action cards. Put your played action cards back in the tableau. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that. We are going to purchase action cards. We only have 3 to spend, so let's get over to the card area and see what cards we want to purchase. Ooh, this is horrible. All right, we need a search because we want to get the item in that location, which would be the knife. So we're going to spend 2 time of our 3 to put that into our hand. So we're down to 1 time remaining, and I think with the 1 time remaining, we're going to go ahead and get a convince, because we're probably going to want to get into other houses that have victims in them, and that only costs 1 time. That is all we can purchase. Ooh, all right, so we're going to reset our timer back to 6. I'm doing that off screen, and then we get to put these cards back in the tableau. These are all 0 cost cards because it was our first turn, so I'm going to leave them at the bottom here. Actually, I'll leave them at the top, turned this way. Just so I remember that those are 0 cost cards, and we get those back if we want. At the planning phase turn, of course there were no 0 cost cards now because it's only the first turn. Alright, now it is the killer phase. Alright, so for the killer phase, we can see here he's going to target the final girl or a victim. He will target a victim because the final girl is awake, as you can see here, so he won't go after her. He will target a victim, but he's not moving. He's just going to attack anyone in his space. So that's the first thing he's doing. Let's have a look. He's creeping on into town. He's in a space with nobody. No victims, nobody, so he will not do anything. That's all good until we have to go ahead and pull a terror card, because that is the next part of the killer turn. So first terror card is... Do you hear what happened on Maple Lane? Oh my god, event, and then draw the next terror card. Oh god, that's a horrible. Oh man, alright, so we need to do 2 events and then draw another terror card. Ugh. Alright, that was absolute garbage. Alright, event number 1 is It's Raining. Panic victims in the intersection. Okay, well there are victims. Then move every victim that is on a street space to its adjacent house. Well, we only have 2 in the intersection. They're going to panic. And then move every victim that's on a street space to its adjacent house. Ooh, okay, so panic time for these guys. We'll zoom in and roll some dice. All right, we're not going to zoom in too much or we won't be able to see what the dice rolls are. So we got 2 people. We're going to roll 2 dice. And we get a 1 and a 6. Now, where do these guys go? This one goes, the 1, he's going up here. And this guy is a 6. There's a 5, 6 here. He goes this way. And now they go into their adjacent houses. Now, there's a little roadway here. You can't quite see it. He's going to pop into this house. And this guy, there is a driveway right here. He runs into this house. Oh, great. Now there's 3. Very close to the killer. Well... that was event number 1. Oh, great. And that's discarded now because it's happened. And the second event we get. Oh, the Smallies. A killer's on the loose. Must be just Maple Lane gossip, unless you don't think. Place 2 special victims in the Smallies' house, which is right here. Each time one of the Smallies is killed, +1 bloodlust. Ooh. Discard this when all Smallies are no longer on the board. Oh my god. Alright. Well, we got to get out 2, so that's the orange and the white. So the Smallies are right here. Luckily, we have a convince, and we might be able to come around and get into that house. The driveway's right here. And try and rescue the Smallies, because we don't want an extra bloodlust. He already gets 1 for killing. Every time Dr. Fright kills a victim, he gets a bloodlust. If he kills a Smallie, it's going to be 2. Yeah, oh man, that's horrible. Okay, well that was... oh, and now we have to draw the next terror card. That was just... this is an awful terror card. Event, and draw the next terror card. Oh! Alright, we get another terror card on top of it. It's too quiet. Alright, the horror level increases. Just as we got it down, I did that off screen. It's back to 4 again. Now he's going to target the final girl, but he won't because we're not on the... I wonder how he does that, because this Maple Lane... she's not asleep. I don't know if he can target her at all. He's going to move twice. Well, currently his movement, his boots are 1. If the killer's in the same space as you, you get another horror track. Double check that. I don't think he can target us. So I think he's just going to move 2 towards the closest victims. Alright, found it in the little Dr. Fright rulebook here. It says... when you are awake and not in the boiler room, okay, it says when Dr. Fright resolves a killer action that begins with the final girl, he will still move toward you but cannot attack you. If a victim is in the space and he ends his movement, he will attack the victim. So basically, Dr. Fright will come at us. We're in the house here and he's got to go down all the way down the street to get to us. So he is going to do that. He's going to go 1, 2, because each one of his boot symbols is 1 movement, and on this card he moves 2. So he's coming out for us 2, and then if the killer's in the same space as you, no, he's in the intersection, we would have got another horror on the track. Oh man, that was brutal. Okay, and that's the end of those. We only have 10 cards and it gets to the finale. Ooh. Okay, going down the track, we have the panic phase. Now if the killer, Dr. Fright, had killed anybody and he was still in the same space with victims, the victims would panic. That, of course, did not happen. And then we have the upkeep phase, reveal the finale. If there's no terror cards left, and then we rearrange items if we have any items in our backpack or hand if we want to. Okay, we're going to zoom out and we're going to wrap up our episode for today. All right, wrapping up our episode today, Dr. Fright versus Sheila. So we're going to see if we can... take them down. Yeah, I don't know. A couple other things to mention. Yeah, the exits. There's 4 exits in the 4 corners on the streets. I forgot to mention that. Exit here, here, and here. So we want to get those victims out there. And I think that's about it. So currently we really didn't make much progress here in the horror track. We're still sitting at 4. We did lose 1 health though, but Sheila does have 6, so that's not bad. So thanks so much for watching along. Thanks for your comments, subscriptions, and likes. This is Final Girl. We're playing Sheila versus Dr. Fright. We'll see you next time for the continuation.